When you hear the word playground, what comes to your mind? Well, for me, something like this comes to my mind, a place where I get to play and experiment. And sidebar, if this image looks a little bit off, it's because it is generated. There are different models to generate the images, but I just give it a shot with the API on this one. Some images are better than others, and there are various models and platforms. I agree that that stair may look a little bit like M.C. Esser's relativity image, but that's a different conversation. So, this is the OpenAI Playground, where you can hone your using the API skills. But what is the Playground? The Playground is a web based tool that allows you to test prompts, which helps you get familiar with the API. In the Playground, you can test different models and settings. You can also save presets, share, and view the code. Let me show you with a demo. This is the playground, which you can access in platform.openai.com/playground. In here, there are several sections of interest. On the left, the getting started, which gives you some good advice. Then the system messages, the area for the user and assistant messages, and then some additional functionality that lets you set some parameters. Let me start with a user prompt. This is the prompt that you would normally add, for example, in ChatGPT or when you're calling the API. This one is I want to go biking. And here's the assistant message. This is the response.
That's great! Biking can be a fun and rewarding activity. Here are a few steps to help you get started.
And then it tells me some things that I need to know. Okay, at this point, I'm using the default system message, which is you're a helpful assistant. Let me clear the assistant message and set a different system message. You are an angry partner. And now things look different.
Fine, go. Just remember that we had plans today and you're choosing to prioritize your own selfish desires over spending time with me.
Yep, sounds about right. Seems like an angry person. What if I execute it again? Well, I get a different response
Are you serious? You always prioritize your.
and a bunch of other angry stuff. At this point, I have the temperature set to 1. So it's creative, but not too creative. If I set it to 0, I can try again. And when I run it, I get this message. Now, with the temperature set to 0, the answer should be more consistent. It's going to be less creative. So if I execute again, I get the same response. And it's a response that makes a lot of sense. But what happens if I try a third time? Still the same response. But what happens if I now take temperature all the way up to 2? First of all, and it's good that we got this, the playground has a limit of 3 queries per minute. So I'm just going to have to wait a few moments. And now I try again. With the temperature all the way up, it gets very creative, which actually ends up being in something that's not really a good response. You have to be careful with your temperature setting. Usually, a temperature setting of zero point 0.7 is good. It provides a good balance between creativity and a predictable answer. Okay, let me clear that message. Here, I was using the chat mode, that's the chat completions endpoint. But you can also use the completions endpoint and the edit, which are legacy. You're not supposed to be using them anymore. See how this one works. You write something, and when you execute, it completes the sentence. In this case, it's giving you a warning that your text ends in a trailing space, but it provides a good answer. If I delete everything and I remove the trailing space, it gives me another good answer. And there you go. That is how you use the OpenAI Playground to experiment with the different models, settings, and in the case of chat completions, that's how you pass the system, user, and even assistant messages. Let's keep moving forward.